Who survives? USA versus BRICS versus Europe, the 24-hour simulation, radar operators staring at green sweeps in a submerged bunker, the smell of recycled air, ozone, and cold coffee. It's the North Atlantic Gap, October 2028. The NATO alliance is fractured. The treaties are shredded. The United States Carrier Strike Group is patrolling, undisputed, dreaming of hegemony. Suddenly, the satellites blink out. The data stream flatlines. A high-pitch alert screams through the headsets. It's not a glitch. It's not a drill. It's a triad. The orbital grid fractures. A constellation of hunter-killer satellites, launched by the newly unified European Defence Force, activates in low Earth orbit. Simultaneously, the massive industrial engines of the BRICS nations unleash a coordinated cyberkinetic pulse. They aren't firing warning shots. They are executing a synchronized deletion of the American GPS network. No nuclear plumes. No declarations of war. Just a digital blackout designed to blind the giant before it can swing its fist. Now, pause the panic. This is a geopolitical sandbox. We aren't here to argue about political morality or rewrite the UN Charter. We are asking a pure, logistical question. In a three-way battle royale between the American war machine, the BRICS Resource Juggernaut, and a federalized Europe, who is the last power standing? Does American military spending conquer all? Or does it collapse without global supply chains? Let's run the sim. The conflict ignites in the global commons, the shipping lanes and internet cables that knit the world together. It's a nightmare for trade, but a playground for total war. The vast oceans insulate the US from invasion, but they also isolate it from resources. While the Pentagon looks for missile silos in Russia or China, the real threat is rotting in the ports. But there's a catch. The clock is brutal. Modern economies run on just-in-time delivery. Most nations have a strategic petroleum reserve of 90 days and a food supply of roughly 3 weeks before civil order disintegrates. They are tethered to the flow of cargo. If the shipping containers stop moving, the nations die. The simulation's central computer initiates the resource mapping. It highlights the 3 combatants. The USA, the undisputed king of kinetics. 11 aircraft carriers, air dominance, energy independence. But it is lonely. BRICS, the factory and the fuel station. 45% of the global population, dominance over rare earth metals and oil. But they suffer from internal friction. Europe, the technocrat, high-end manufacturing, precision engineering, and a unified banking firewall. But they are energy-starved. The goal isn't to occupy territory. It's to force the other two to collapse from within. The logical cores of each superpower weigh their moves. How do you win a war when everyone has nukes? Option A, the glass parking lot. Launch the ICBMs. Mutually assured destruction. Total 0. The math fails immediately. There is no winner, only radioactive ash. Option B, the Normandy approach. Amphibious invasions. Attempt to occupy Washington, Beijing, or Berlin. Impossible. The defensive tech is too strong. Ocean crossings are suicide missions. You'd bleed out half your population just reaching the beach. Option C, the strangulation protocol. Economic siege. Assassinate the currency. Starve the energy grid. You don't fight the armies. You break the civilization that feeds them. The superpowers use the digital realm to turn modern life into a weapon. In a world dependent on silicon, a nation without microchips is in the Stone Age. Target 1, the wallets. 0200 hours. Europe executes Project Zero. They disconnect the SWIFT banking system. The US dollar and the BRICS reserve currencies freeze. Credit cards stop working. ATMs go dark. Panic flares. Is it a glitch? A hack? Next, the energy. BRICS plays its ace. They close the valves. The Strait of Hormuz and the Malacca Strait are mined and blockaded. 40% of the world's oil is instantly removed from the market. The dazzlers of this war aren't lights. They are price spikes. Oil hits $400 a barrel. The global transport network suffers a cardiac arrest. Trucks stop running. Shelves go empty. The beast of the global economy has just been crippled. By dawn, the stock markets are effectively dissolved. The US does what it does best. It projects force. The carrier groups steam toward the choke points. Jets scramble. But there is no distinct enemy fleet to sink. Only thousands of cheap sea mines and coastal defense batteries. The European and BRICS alliances adapt. They ignore the carriers and target the infrastructure. Hypersonic missiles locate the LNG, liquid natural gas, terminals and semiconductor foundries. They dive. They don't need to hit the cities. They just need to hit the fragile nodes. The impact vaporizes the ability to heat homes or build new weapons. The industrial base is now deafened and disarmed. Then, the internet cables. Submarines sever the fiber optics on the Atlantic floor. The single lifeline connecting Western intelligence. The US is blinded. The American homeland is an island, disconnected and dark. Rumors of the Great Collapse spread faster than the riots. Some citizens hoard water. Others burn down government buildings. The simulation prepares the final stroke. It isolates the domestic stability of each bloc. The sun is setting on the third month. A heavy winter rolls in, perfect cover for famine. The enemy is no longer across the ocean. It is inside the gates. The US has the guns, but BRICS has the food, and Europe has the tech, but nobody has all three. The noise is terrifying, not bombs, but the silence of empty cities. The domestic populations reach a breaking point. In New York, Shanghai, and Paris, the people storm the palaces of power. The governments deploy national guards. But how do you shoot a hunger riot that encompasses millions? The leaders freeze. The red lasers are ent on their chests. They are on the charts showing 0% approval and 100% anarchy. The reality speaks with a synthesized voice. Restore the bread. Or perish. The silence in the situation rooms is heavier than the warheads. The leadership is decapitated by their own citizens without a foreign boot touching the soil. The siege has them held at gunpoint. But here is the reality check. Could a three-way war actually have a winner? Tactically, maybe the US holds out longest due to geography and oil. But strategically, it's a disaster waiting to happen. The global supply chain is at 0%. The heavy reliance on imports threatens to starve the victors just as fast as the losers. If one side pushes the button, or if the grid stays down for another week, civilization goes inert. And once those supply lines die, the tanks are just scrap metal. The people would realize they were fighting for flags while they starved. The patriotism would turn to fury. They would tear the governments apart with their bare hands. The modern world is too fragile for a total war. The simulation wins the battle, but humanity loses the war against entropy. They didn't bring victory. They brought a terrifying glimpse of a deglobalized dark age. Future historians would be baffled. Was it hubris, resource scarcity, or mass suicide? One thing is certain, the age of the superpower proxy war would have ended that night. So, could the USA defeat the world? For a few terrifying weeks, absolutely. But feeding the population afterward? You still need global trade for that. What simulation should we run next? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for the next breakdown.